All right, so if you think the reactions against the suspension of the Chief Justice of Nigeria is just coming from politicians alone, you're not particularly correct, because our correspondent Ivy Kano reports that even churches are not left out.
It is a Thanksgiving service at this church, the African Church. And as members danced and praised the Almighty, they are not unaware of what some have described as judicial confusion the country finds itself.
Every arm of the government has its own separate power. They have their own separate roles. So I'm advising the president to make sure he doesn't interfere in the other arms of the government, so they can work in harmony, so there can be peace amongst the three tiers of the government. Because when there is peace, there will be development.
A situation where somebody is unduly suspended is something we should kick against. Let the due process be followed. Now, if the due process is followed, I'm fine. I'm fine. If the man is guilty of any issue and the due process is followed, all Nigerians should be satisfied. But where due process is not followed, I support Nigerians to kick against it.
For former Attorney General of Osun State and Senior Advocate of Nigeria, the future is not looking good for the judiciary if the suspension is allowed to stand.
It's like we are inviting anarchy to prevail. There are several schools of thought about the incident and what is going on. But as far as I'm concerned, whatever side of the divide you may be, let there be due process. And what do we mean by due process? The law is very clear. The Constitution is very clear. How was he appointed? He was appointed by the president. He was nominated and then referred to the Senate. On approval by the Senate, he was made this Chief Justice of the Federation. And if you're going to, for any reason, remove him, you still have to get a 2/3 of majority in the Senate. And this has not been followed. There's a siege on the judiciary. And it means that the judges will be operating under fear now.
They are worried at how politicians have heightened tension ahead of the general election and hope the exercise will end without violence. Ivy Kano, TVC News, Lagos.